Bong, 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 long, 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 bong, long, long, long. If I get some music, I'm gonna just make it myself, so I don't have to pay any credits. What do they call that? Royalties to anybody? Bow, 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 bow. That's right. Down, 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 down. Make my own music. No credit to anyone but me. That's right. That's right. Dun, 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 dun. Remember that who was that guy from Police Academy? He used to kind of do the guitar, the electric guitar, and all that. That guy was really annoyed me. Like whenever he was, whenever he was like the human sound effect machine. People are like, "Ooh!" I'm like, "Oh, get me away from this person, man!" You know, I wouldn't even walk across the street to deal with something like that. Why would I? You misjudge me if you think that I would. So Whoopi Goldberg in huge trouble. Not really, because she got poop in her brains. Poop for shit. My favorite Australian word, shit for brains. One big long word, shit for brains. So everybody takes it upon themselves. These people, not everybody. All right, let me rephrase that. People like her, people who are extremist liberals and or extremist conservatives, they both do the same thing. They think you care what they think. And they think they can just tell you your business or tell you how like it is or whatever. And that's the way things are. Whoopi Goldberg is a very wealthy black woman in the United States of America. She has made millions and millions of dollars from the entertainment business and is very comfortable, right? She's not suffering at all. And from what I understand, she doesn't help people either. I always look into these stars' backgrounds and see what kind of causes they get in and what kind of things they do. So, just to me, it's interesting because you are what you do, right? So, anyway, then she goes on and says that the Holocaust wasn't about, I don't know, it wasn't about race because it was white people attacking white people, which, made people upset, understandably. And she got suspended from The View, which is, for a couple days, not even for anything, and then makes a big deal out of it, and then is trying to drum support up from her supporters, and they're like, "Oh, it's terrible, it's Whoopi, you can't suspend her." So it's just, probably they even did it just to get the ratings. I think that all this stuff is really scripted. There's not much left that's real. Whatever programming you're watching, your reality shows and all that, don't think for a second that they're real. The View and the things that they discuss, the same thing. Think of the audience that they expose themselves to. It's not me. If you think that I'm getting up looking at The View or I'm trying to seek them out somehow, I mean, you're mistaken. you've you've mistaken me for someone who gives a crap about The View. So I see what they're all about, and they're all the same. Every last show like that, every last one of them. You know, I remember when Whoopi Goldberg, she herself used to harass Oprah Winfrey nonstop for being overweight. Now Whoopi Goldberg looks like she ate Oprah Winfrey. You know, so this things like that, and I have no time for any of that because when I see it, you know what it is? It's background noise because there's real stuff going on. All the people that spout out their crap about this, that, whatever, and or race. Here we are, Black History Month, right? Shortest, coldest month of the year, and they give it for black people. I'd be upset if I was a black in America just for that. Just for that. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, it's not black history. It's American history. It's world history. When you single people out, black this, black that, white that, you compartmentalize them as a group and take them away from everybody else. Uh, Black people are not second class citizens. Black people have been involved in every war this country's ever had, and also not just involved in, helped win, help be successful in that. So and then to look at the ghettos out there and look at those neighborhoods where the crime is nonstop, like a wildfire, to turn your back on people. That's the most horrible thing that I've ever seen in my life as a watcher. It's very, very difficult to understand from a point of view of intelligence. If you want people to succeed and you put them in situations where they're bound to fail, because nobody can be successful in those situations, I mean, the percentages are very, very, very low. So New York City's answer right now to I guess years of making up for racism is to let criminals go. Let them go. Right? Let them go back into the streets so they can commit more crime. Now, you take said criminal from said neighborhood and take them out and they commit a crime in that neighborhood, and you release them, they go back to that neighborhood and commit more crimes. Who are you helping out? Who are you helping? And at what point do you say enough, you know, and then you come down with an iron fist upon all the guilty, and then you just let things sit where they may. I'll tell you, but the groups out there that are yelling and screaming and burning down police stations, there's groups out there that these politicians bend over backwards for. And then they're afraid of these. They're afraid of them. They're afraid of the harassment. People outside your house 3 o'clock in the morning with bullhorns, yelling and screaming. This is allowed to happen. They allow it. The police allow it. The politicians allow it. They think that for some reason, they're giving them a pass on committing crime. You stand outside someone's house 2 o'clock in the morning with a bullhorn. That's called disturbing the peace. You don't leave. You get hauled away. You don't let them stay there all night because you're afraid of looking insensitive to their cause. Their cause has nothing to do with right and wrong. Their cause has something to do with wanting some kind of revenge, and they don't even know how or what or when. They don't even know what direction to go, but it's just that you are allowing a lot of people to do what they want to do unchecked. Now you have dead police officers, ambush police officers. People are surprised. You had a whole, Fifth Avenue full of all these police officers. You may have seen the photos of thousands and thousands coming out for the support. Yeah, they'll do that. They'll do that. The cops will get shot. The others will come out. They'll go into the media. They'll make their big grand statements. They'll have the news cameras on the wife of the dead cop, screaming and putting her fists in the air, talking about how the politicians have to respond and crime's out of control. Guess what? It's nothing new under the sun. Why is this happening? It's happening because the police have been vilified. You got 1, 2, 3 police officers who are criminals. The rest of them are not. They're out there to protect and serve. They're out there to save you, maybe, if they're there for you. And largely this society has turned their backs on these police officers. Largely the society has looked at them and say, yeah, you're the problem. You're the problem in the black community. The police. You're the problem. You take the police out of the black community or any community, take them out of that community, and then all the problems will be solved, right? Is that what it is? Defund the police, defund the police. Oh, yeah. Defund the police, take their guns away. I've heard them say, take their guns away. Defund the police. It's always interesting the cops show up when one of these guys commit a crime, and then terrible things happen. Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. You know what? If you don't want to see them in your face, don't commit the crime. How's that? Does that make sense? Because to me, that makes perfect sense. All right. This is going to show you a path for people who think that the police are the problems. They think the cops are the problems. Yeah, there's bad cops. I've encountered them myself. I've been hurt by cops in protests. I've been hurt by cops years ago. Had a cop hit me in the back with his billy club. Had one run into me with a police motorcycle and kicked by a freaking police horse. Yeah, I get it. There's asshole on that police horse. It ain't the horse, it's the cop. Asshole on that motorcycle. Asshole with a billy club. Those guys should have been brought to justice for hurting some innocent person, but they didn't. Now it's the opposite swing in the other direction, and then there needs to be a balance. If there's bad cops, they need to be brought to justice. But you can't have no cops, especially in high crime areas. Can't do it. So here you go. Teen rapper charged with shooting NYPD cop is in custody again for violating his probation. All right, this guy is a 16-year-old gang banger. He's a gang member. He shot a cop, right? And he signed a record contract. There you go. And it's interesting. You see how the media companies, corporations, if you yourself stand accused without being convicted of something, you lose your job. You know that. Or they deny you a show, they kick you off a TV show. They don't like your views. You go out there and you say something, they don't like what you say, you're gone because you're not representing their show. But it's the character you're playing that's representing the show, not you personally. But they don't care, right? In the rap world, shooting a police officer is like a gold record to these guys, which shows you how crazy things are, right? And they should be discouraging crime against our first responders, not encouraging crime against our first responders. So, okay, it's like this, right? I used to hang out in Far Rockaway in Queens, high crime area. Not even as bad neighborhood I was in compared. I mean, it was bad, but compared to you go up to the 40s, Beach Street, 40s, 50s, the 40s projects up there. At night, you would hear machine gun fire, machine gun fire. Pa, 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 pa. It was like freaking a war. You know, and this is the place. So these junkies would call the ambulances, right? And say, person got shot, this happened, that happened, or someone's having this or whatever. The ambulance would show up outside. They'd go inside these buildings and they'd always say it was on the top floor or something. Most of the elevators are broken in these places, I mean, the way they make people live is deplorable. And, that's mainly New York City housing anyway. So New York City housing, New York City, politics, keep that in mind when they're on their soapbox talking about how people suffer, but they're suffering under their hands. So yeah, there you go. But so these ambulance people, the EMTs will go up to the top floor. As soon as they got in, these junkies would break into, smash the window, break into the ambulance, steal all the drugs, whatever they can get to sell. So they didn't stop going to the building, but they slowed their response. Then the community said, "Oh, you're racist. You don't want to come here. We need your help." I mean, you can't use the word racist to describe everything. And there's also, if a situation is dangerous, you're not going to have people in there. But then why is it dangerous? And why can't they get it under control? So in that very same neighborhood, I was reading a news story yesterday how this cop got carjacked and then he got shot. He shot at the two guys that carjacked him and they took off. They didn't get shot. And they arrested him at the 100, which, the area I hung out with, that precinct's the 101. So it's all in the same area, the same neighborhood. And so it was on Beach Street right by, like I think in the 50s. The cops will tell you not to stop for those red lights on Beach Street, to slow for the red light, make sure no one's coming, and go. Because somebody will come up and tap a gun on your window and rob you or take your car or whatever. Or maybe they're just having a bad day. So, but you know why? There's problems because those guys with the guns who tap on the window, they get arrested. They did arrest these guys. They arrested them for the attempted stuff, the assault and the carjacking, attempted carjacking. Nothing will happen to them. You have a new DA, in New York City that's letting people go, even for sex crimes. He doesn't think that people should go to jail. The governor called him out on it. This guy's such a lofty lib. He's going to just let people go. What the hell do you think is going to happen? So here it is. 16-year-old reputed gangbanger who allegedly shot a police officer in the Bronx, is back in custody, right? Cameron Williams, an up and coming rapper, goes by the name C Blue, was ordered back to Crossroads Juvenile Center in Brooklyn because the gun he allegedly used to shoot the cop violated the term of his probation from an earlier case. Really? Williams was on probation in a 2020 gun case when he allegedly got into this scuffle with a police officer in Belmont and shot the 27-year-old cop allegedly. So already on gun charges from 2020, not sitting there in jail. Not seeing, if you get caught with a handgun in New York, it's the Sullivan Act. There's supposed to be 1 year in jail, mandatory, for an illegal handgun. You're not even allowed to put your finger on a handgun in New York if you don't have a permit. You don't even if you go to one of those shops that sell gun stores, you're not even allowed to put your finger on it. That's how intense they are with the law. Why is this kid walking around? A gang member too. Why is he walking around? I'll tell you why. The teen was hit with assault weapons charges. In that case, the Bronx prosecutors asking that the troubled teen be held without bail pending his next court date. But acting Bronx Supreme Court Justice Denise Boyle set his bond at $250,000, which Williams posted on January 27th, reportedly with an advance he received after signing a record contract with Interscope Records. So he gave them the money, they bailed him out, basically, right? Oh, here's a nice picture of him with a gun, pointing the gun at the camera. That's wonderful. However, the teen was picked up again Thursday and hauled into a family court hearing during which he was ordered back to the juvenile facility. So for now, he's off the streets. For now, people are a little more safe in that neighborhood where this loser roams around. Well, he's a rapper. Well, like that means anything. Well, I'm a guitarist, but I rob banks. Well, yeah, really. He's a rap. Like that means anything. Let's see. So now they're saying it's unclear why he wasn't hit with the probation. Now, let's examine this sentence. It is unclear why he wasn't hit with the probation violation when he was in custody following his arrest in the police shooting. You know why? It's not unclear. It's not unclear at all. They're bending over backwards saying, "Oh, you're of a certain skin color, you can go." That's really as simple as that. And they're not doing anybody any favors. And this isn't and you know what? This to me is the most racist thing in the world, because this guy certainly does not represent the black community, but these politicians who are when Obama started the ball rolling, there's a let's face it, there's a disproportionate amount of black and Latinos in jail. So you're saying that because people are black and Latino, they can't commit a crime? You know, so there's a whole thing hooked up with poverty, how people are forced to live. Oh yeah, and then taking criminals, not taking them off the streets, but putting them back in the same community that they're in to commit more crimes. Who do you think they're committing the crimes against? Not the people in the good neighborhoods. Oh no, they're safe, man. They're safe. I could call the police; they'll be here in 60 seconds. You know what I mean? No big, huge crime. If there's crime, what do the neighbors say? Oh my God, it's amazing. It's usually a quiet neighborhood. Nothing ever happens here. That's what they say. You know what they say in Far Rockaway? Oh, yeah, we have shootings every day. People shot in the street. This guy shot, that guy shot, and whatever. This person died. Oh man, you go to the block, and then someone come up to you. Oh, did you hear about so and so? When they say that, they're dead. Did you hear about so and so? Did you hear about them? That's what their life is like. If you want to live in a good neighborhood, you need to make a lot of money and pay a lot of money in taxes, because taxes are out of control. The government will pay $20,000 a year for your house just for taxes, just to live in a halfway decent neighborhood. Then they have the nerve to say that people should have affordable housing. What they say doesn't make sense. They're all contradictory. They don't care how people live. They want you to be under control and scared so they can take the money out of your pocket and laugh in your face so they can pay off their lawsuits when they go out and do terrible things, they themselves, the politicians themselves. So this kid, this little teen, right? You know where he's going? I'll tell you where he's going. And this is daily stories from this world, you know. Teenage rapper with the gun shoots a cop, all that stuff, right? Here we go. Let's switch off of him for a moment and talk about rapper T Dot. T Dot. T Dot. Ooh, right? Fatally shot in Brooklyn after signing record label. This is the reality of people who live like this, people who are like this, people who seek this type of life, people who will take the gun and threaten people's lives and rob people, hurt people, whatever, sell poison to their own brothers and sisters in their own community. They don't care because this has been an extinction event against black people from the beginning. If you think for a second that this is an institutionalized racism of no opportunity, no chances, and don't give me that there's this college fund, that college fund. That is just for the few that can get through that door. But there's only one door with many people. You know, oh, this is a famous rapper and this guy's a famous sports star. But overall, the community suffers, and these are Democratic controlled areas. Keep that in mind. Never forget that. Never forget that. And they have the nerve to say, well, it's the Republicans that stand in the way of us helping people. Yeah. There you go. There you go. So T Dot, the 22-year-old artist and dancer whose real name was Tahay Dobson, was struck in the head and left knee in a drive-by shooting on East 98th Street in Canarsie, Brooklyn, at about 2:20 p.m. 2:20 afternoon, broad daylight, right? T Dot, who was friends with the late rapper Pop Smoke, was taken, another dead rapper, taken to Brookdale Hospital Medical Center and pronounced dead hours before. If you know black people, you know they go to a lot of funerals, you know that. And if you don't understand why they're upset and why they're mad, because this it's been engineered like that, then you'll never understand. You'll never understand, right? So hours before his death, T. Dot struck a deal with $1 million Music. The label announced in a press release. The label described T. Dot as a rising star and said he rose to prominence for his woo walk from a community whose drill music has and continues to electrify the world. There you go. He has multiple video credits under his belt. Ability to dance, they said. Amazing ability to dance. And then you get all the people. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you forever, baby boy. You were the prince of the city. Long live Prince T. Dot. All the nice little things people say. Look, 135,000 likes, right? It's an honor to remain your friend until your last moments. I'll tell you. And then nothing ever happens. Nothing ever gets better. All the memorials, all the lighting the candle. Everybody's gonna have this march, that march. Everybody's gonna do this. Gather together means nothing. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. You're wasting your freaking time. Because if you want to change a system, you can't do it in the system because the system ain't going to let you change. You got to go outside the box. And you need to change things in a way that keeps people in checks and balances. You know, the government. There's unscrupulous actors that will always play every card they can in the deck to do what? To have power and control, and then throw people a bone. Sometimes, right? Throw them a bone. So dead cop, dead rapper, dead this, dead that. Oh, here's a rapper with a gun shooting this, whatever. Is that how you define your lives? Gun smoke? You know? Really? So last week we talked about Peter Dinklage, right? Who is a dwarf, and he was very angry. I understand he's short tempered about, and this is how bizarre life gets. This is why I'm bringing it up. He's very angry about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and how the dwarfs were misrepresented somehow, I guess, in servitude to Snow White, who now they have another version of Snow White, except she's Latino. So he said, hey, she's Latina, and how come, you're woke on that direction with color, but you're not woke with the dwarf direction? Basically, everybody wants everything to be shut off or shut down. Even Neil Young. Neil Young, who said he was going to pull his music off of Spotify because Joe Rogan is on there. And his, I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I really don't. I could care less what he says. I don't have to listen to him. If I don't like what someone says, I don't listen to him. As long as they're not telling people to go out and hurt people, like certain politicians have done in the past few years, telling people to go out and hurt people. I don't care what he does, right? I don't have time for that nonsense. But certainly, I'm not going to begrudge somebody a show because a few people out there don't like what they're saying. And I guess whatever he said had to do with vaccines and that type. And there's a lot of numbskullery. There's a lot of ignorance out there. There's a lot of people, I don't believe in COVID. I don't believe in vaccines. I'll tell you, COVID's real. The vaccines are real. If you have the vaccine, you have lesser of a chance of dying than not. The people that are vaccinated don't get as sick as the people who aren't. So how's that? Is that simple for you? Okay. So Neil Young, all I see is an old rich white man. You want to say white, black? Okay, I'll throw that all night long. And these guys think who they are? Who the hell they are? Really? Neil Young? A guy who sang about heroin? Lots of songs about heroin? Yeah, great. You suffered through heroin. Who cares? I don't care, Neil Young. It didn't make you any smarter. That's for goddamn sure. You had your experiences. Oh, my experiences were so terrible. We all have our own experiences. That's the whole thing. You ever listen to the Buddha? We're all on our own journey. No, I got to read the book of the My Pillow guy who was a huge notorious crackhead who went out there and hurt lots and lots and lots of people during his reign as a crackhead, destroying the relationships with his family and whatever. Then he starts this My Pillow company, and have you ever seen the inside of his pillows? They look like little bits of crack. That's kind of like probably where he got the idea from. So then he gets involved in Trump, made my pillow out of Trump's ass, put his head right on it, and obviously the crack didn't make him any smarter. And I don't care what your story is. I remember when he was like, with the book, he was like, not selling it, giving it away on television, like, call now for his book and get a $20 bucks off the My Pillow. I got those My Pillows. My mom actually bought them for me for Christmas one year as a Christmas present, and they weren't even all that good. It was very uncomfortable to begin with, so I wasn't really into it as much. And then the first time I washed them, they got a really funky, weird smell to them, and it wasn't like I washed it with any kind of substance or this. In fact, I'm not into perfumes or any of that, so I use all the no scent stuff, and that was it. I threw them out because I dried them right, the whole bit, followed the rules. I just figured don't buy stuff made by a crackhead. But if you don't buy food made by a clown, so don't go to McDonald's. Don't buy food made by. You know what? This is the deal. Neil Young doesn't know anything. And these people think that they're going to go out there and make these big grandiose statements to try to sway you and who you are because you're not good enough to have an idea of your own. You're not smart enough, or you just need to follow whatever these Hollywood actors or musicians say because you got no mind of your own. Screw them. Who the hell they think they are? He's an old, rich, white man. How many normal people does Neil Young know? Coming out of his mansion. He bought Lionel trains, like the miniature train company. So that's why every time you see him, he's wearing like a train hat, and he's all about miniature trains. He's out of his freaking mind. Look at the dude. He's living his train life. What does he know about Joe Rogan? What the hell he said? You know? I'm gonna pull his music. Don't like his music anyway, and he's not even relevant. Who listens to Neil Young anymore? How many of these young people coming up? Oh, have you heard the new Neil Young record? I got. Oh, I've got to go get Neil Young. I can't wait. Oh my God, Neil Young playing with his choo choo. Let me tell you, dude, your little miniature choo choo. So Dinklage is another one that's going to change the world. But he's short sighted. You know. You know why? Because you can't. And number two, this isn't something you should even be worrying about. This is a cartoon that takes place I mean, and not for nothing, the dwarfs were very friendly and they helped. So he should be happy about that too. That but he's taking it upon the whole dwarf community and making these statements. So of course you can't go out and talk this kind of talk without drawing a reaction from other dwarfs because they too are have an idea, and just like Neil Young telling people what to think and what not to think, the same for everybody and anybody. Okay, so who died and made Peter Dinklage the king of dwarfs? Dylan Postal says the Hollywood star doesn't speak for him or the countless other dwarf actors who would love to star in Snow White and follow their dreams in Hollywood. Thank you. Because there's a seat for every ass, large and small. And this guy Dinklage, ever since I read the story about him going off about Snow White, I looked him up on YouTube. This guy is not uh let's just say he's not. All right. I've seen a lot of what he does, and he's just kind of like a foul mouth little type of you know not even a good foul mouth like Samuel Jackson. Like Samuel Jackson really knows how to push out a profanity. This guy is different. This guy just does it for effect. Like this little dude is mad. It's mad little guy. So he's like F you, F this, F that, and FFF. All right. Dylan Postal is a professional wrestler, right? Dwarf wrestling. Maybe they could have a wrestling match, with Dinklage and whatever, and this guy Postal going at it. Actor and author who performed the WWE Under the Ring named Hornswoggle. In this corner, Hornswoggle. In this other corner, Peter Dinklage. All right. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job, Peter Dinklage. You got some good PR. Disney got a pass. America moved on to the next politically correct outrage, and people lost their jobs. Little people lost their jobs. This guy's a little angry. Yeah. He's like, take a bow because that's exactly what's going to happen. Dinklage was trying to be woke and progressive, and he called out Disney for remaking the whole Snow White. Let's see. In this day and age, if you want to be successful in Hollywood, that has to be a key part of your message. Plus, we're all stuck at home and bored. Celebrities are scrolling through social media looking for someone or something to cancel. Unfortunately, with this in our society we live in, cancel culture has hit its peak. Dinklage said he has a problem with the way Snow White, a classic cherished fairy tale, portrays dwarfs. Well, he's like, I don't have a problem with Snow White. What I do have a problem with is Dinklage putting himself on a pedestal and looking down on jobs that countless dwarfs in the entertainment industry would love to fill. Not for nothing. Like I watch horror movies, zombie type of movies. Most of those movies use people who who have no legs and no arms, or that type of thing. I mean, they bloody them up and they make them into zombies. Is that exploitation of that? Is it exploitation? I mean, this guy Dinklage, he's an angry dude. He's always angry. I remember I said he never has any smile marks on his face. Like, people smile, they have like crow's feet and whatever. This guy, nothing, man. Look, I got a picture of him here. His mouth is open. He's like angry, like, yeah. He has an award. He's holding that up. he got he got outstanding support actor in a drama series for Game of Thrones. So outstanding support actor. Is that even like a thing? That's a gimme, you know? You just got an award for outstanding support actor. I got an award for outstanding janitor in the movie theater. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's not easy getting the gum off the seats. I will tell you, every day is a battle and a winding road. So here we go. Seven little people will now be out of a job. Honestly, who died and made Peter Dinklage king of the dwarfs? It pisses me off. This is this guy talking, of course. Now, Disney says they're taking a different approach on these seven characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. Really, who is the dwarfism community? This is dude. He's like, who are they talking to? Oh my god. I would have told them to fill each one of those jobs with a dwarf actor. Hey, Disney, call me. I'll take every role you have, right? Because these guys want to work. You know, they don't think they're being exploited. It's a story. You're gonna write dwarfs out of history? They exist. Sometimes they're happy and sneezy and angry and whatever, grumpy. Grumpy. That's what Peter Dinklage is. He's like the grumpy one. They should make him grumpy. Give him that role. Or that. Do they have an angry dwarf? The frick they got, man. The seven dwarfs. Names. I don't even remember that crap because it wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't something I even cared about. Here we go. Dopey. Peter Dinklage he definitely fits. I don't know. I wouldn't put him in a dopey category. Uh, Bashful, no. Grumpy, yeah, definitely. That's this dude. Grumpy, sneezy, sleepy, nah. I don't know. Happy Doc, no, no, no. No, I guess. Grumpy. People should start calling him Grumpy in public when they see Peter Dinklage. Hey, Grumpy. Okay, but he is grumpy. You know, the guy just, but this dude's totally right. They're just sitting there waiting for the next woke story so these people of the cancel culture can jump out and start canceling things. So let's see. This guy says this cancel culture is not just a problem for little people, it's a problem for a whole society. And as soon as someone throws a woke red flag, companies immediately stop what they're doing instead of taking anyone else's feelings into consideration. There must be a limit to this craziness. This is no way to live. We cannot allow one person's opinion to change all of our lives at the drop of a hat. So, what is so wrong with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs anyway? Dinklage called it a backwards story about seven dwarfs living in a cave. Wrong. The dwarfs live in a cottage. They work for a living in a mine, and they had lots of gems. That's right. For a fairy tale story, these guys are doing pretty well. They were wealthy dwarfs with a pretty tall girlfriend, right? So plus, they take Snow White into their home when she's in trouble, and each dwarf has his own personality. The story doesn't portray all dwarfs as the same, but apparently, according to Hollywood, all dwarfs are the same, and Dinklage speaks for everyone. So I want to know who Disney is talking to. Did they call the Little People of America Association? Did they speak to average height people? I know that they didn't call me. So all I ever wanted to be in life is a professional wrestler. It was my dream from when I was a kid, but I am not what the WWE is looking for. I am not 6'6" tall. I don't weigh 250 pounds. I am different. But in 2006, WWE was looking for a dwarf to play a leprechaun as a sidekick to fit Finley. I got the job. From 2006 to 2016, I performed every week in a TV broadcast viewed worldwide under statement Hornswoggle. I lived my dream. He lived his dream. Big dreams, big statements, and not small minded at all. This is somebody who understands, and listen to him. He said I can't play Spider-Man, I can't play Batman, I can't play PT Barnum. I'm not Hugh Jackman, but I can land a spot in a major motion picture by playing a specialty role on the cast. It's not demeaning or degrading to take a role that is specifically made for a little person, but that's exactly what Dinklage and Disney want to get rid of. Roles for dwarfs are already few and far between, and the competition for them is fierce. You know what, man? This guy even wrote a book. Life is short, and so am I. My life inside, outside, and under the wrestling ring. Good, go buy his book, man. You know what? That's beautiful. It really is. Because he's standing up for people against one single minded person who thinks, yeah, he can come out and speak for the entire community, Uh, but he can't. And he's an individual, right? So talking about limited talent, no talent. Let's say no talent shrub. We're going to call this section of the show no talent shrub. Drew Barrymore. We talked about last week when she had Huma Abedin on, and Drew Barrymore, the entire show, talked about herself, all the stuff, dating as a single mom, all these things. She started crying. She went through all the things. This is like her normal, right? So they bought her show thinking that it was going to have ratings. The show has zero ratings, right? Nobody watches it. Nobody wants to watch it. It's failing. It's the lowest rated show, no matter how much they pump into it. But last week I questioned it. I'm like, how can they put this out there? I mean, what are they doing? I mean, they're really kind of stuck, right? They give her the contract. Why do they think that Drew Barrymore was going to be interesting anyway? There's nothing about her that's interesting that would appeal to people on that kind of a talk show. And she doesn't even interview her hosts. All right. So anyway, this is an interesting thing because after I talked about this article popped up. Right. Here we go. The Drew Barrymore Show has no ratings. CBS is stuck with it. The talk show cannot rise beyond 500,000 viewers average per episode, which is nothing, by the way. You know what I mean? So this show, for instance, is doing well over 1 million, and this is a non. We're not putting millions of bucks in advertising, getting this show out there, whatever. It's just you beautiful people who listen to me, right? And it increases all the time. So let's see. In contrast, Kelly Clarkson on another show nobody watches with 800,000, or Live with Kelly and Ryan at 1.8 million. Right. So what to do? Why not throw Woody Allen under the bus? Drew was part of the ensemble cast in Woody's terrific "Everyone Says I Love You" musical in 1996. He gave her a job, right? Woody was let's see, very hot coming off of Bullets Over Broadway and Mighty Aphrodite. Drew was lucky to be in the cast in a movie with Julia Roberts and Goldie Hawn, and she said on her show that there was no higher career calling card at the time than to work with Woody Allen. Diane West had just won best Diane West had just won Best Supporting Actress for Bullets, and Mira Sorvino won for Mighty Aphrodite. Again, Drew was lucky to be cast in one of his movies. But here we are, 2022. But now, of course, it's convenient to slag Woody. So Drew brought on Mia Farrow's hypnotized adopted daughter, Dylan, which is really son, right? He's a male who's identifying as a female, that type of thing. I know that I get very confused when they start saying he, she, whatever. They. How about them? I'll give them that. Give them them. Mia Farrow's hypnotized adopted kid, Dylan Farrow, to make accusations and promote the Allen vs. Farrow documentary for a possible Emmy Award. There was no one to defend Woody or dispute Dylan's allegations, which have been drummed into their head for 25 years by Mia Farrow. Brainwashing type stuff, right? What they didn't discuss that Dylan's uncle, John Farrow, Mia's brother, had just spent 7 years in prison for molesting two little boys and destroying their lives. Really? Really? And when I, as an investigator, when I look at stuff, when I hear stories like that, and here's a child molester, Mia Farrow's brother, a child molester, 7 years in prison, child molester, so close to Mia Farrow's son. Don't you think that something could have happened there? Was that ever investigated? Did they bring that up? Because that when I was reading these stories, I was like, wow, that's pretty close. Child molesters, they look to get close to the kids. They that's what they do. So I'd be asking a lot of questions if that was me, right? Anyway, Drew, of course, didn't share about any way that he's treated his own mother, said Barrymore, Jade Barrymore. Oh, all these years. So I can't get back if I didn't know who was talking about who. Drew, of course, didn't share about the crappy way she treated her own mother, Jade Barrymore, all these years. CBS syndication is pushing the Drew show hard. They had her as a guest on Rachel Ray this week and a host on CBS this morning. They also had Oprah Winfrey, who is a CBS stockholder, include her in one of her shows, but nothing helps Drew's ratings. She's insipid, shallow, disingenuous. The audience apparently gets that. In this article written by Jade Barrymore. Yeah, yeah. All right, one more quick one. We always have too much fun on the show, man. This hour goes by so fast. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. What do we have time for? How about the fight at Golden Corral? A 40-person brawl breaks out in the Golden Corral over reported steak shortage. There we go. Diners can be seen throwing punches in high chairs. High chairs during the Bessilman, Pennsylvania restaurant riot. Now, I told you about Pennsylvania, didn't I? Last week, we talked about Pennsylvania, escape monkeys. This woman has some kind of virus now, and she's like in ICU and whatever with this monkey because the monkey spit in her eye or whatever. That's Pennsylvania. This is also Pennsylvania. Groundhog Day yesterday. They honor, we call them woodchucks, and they're a nuisance in Pennsylvania. That is their king. They religiously follow the groundhog. They also eat them, which has got to tell you something. Got to tell you something. But this is how crazy people are. And I have never set foot in a Golden Corral, so I would never even see something like this unless it really came in front of my face, right? All right, all you can eat devolved into all you can beat at this Golden Corral restaurant. Viral video footage shows dozens of customers punching each other, shouting, jumping, and even swinging and throwing high chairs inside the Ben Salem, PA restaurant last Friday. The food fight reportedly broke out after the buffet ran out of steak. Oh, you think red meat promotes violence? No. From what I heard, it was over a steak. Apparently, someone cut in line. Dylan Becker, a former Golden Corral employee, happened to be on hand. He said a current worker told him this. His friend Gavin Luletta also told the local news station. This article is written terribly, man. That he heard from Golden Corral workers that there was a shortage of steak and two parties were involved. So it went from 2 to 40. Indeed, a man can be heard saying, "All I wanted was some steak" on the video, which went viral on social media. It led to Golden Corral to trend on Twitter. They lost. They lost. They lost. They lost. The stock is going down because it's probably not because of this. On Tuesday morning, one tweet sharing the video had been viewed almost 300,000 times by a bunch of bored people who want to see a brawl. Be warned that there is some strong language and violence depicted, and this clip may be disturbing. Oh man, look at this. Ugh. Oh, yeah, there you go. Now I have a better understanding why I haven't. The video shows the buffet melee erupting, ironically enough, beneath a painted sign reading "Gather Round." Customers, they should have like a fighting rink. They should make people fight for their food at Golden Corral. Call the Golden Knockout and kind of like have people get in the ring and they got the chocolate fountain or something like that going on and they throw like a steak in the middle of the ring like "Arr, arr, arr, arr." Isn't that like some kind of movie, Hunger Games or something? Gather round. Customers begin pushing and shoving each other before some lift up high chairs and begin swinging and throwing them. Punches are also thrown. Many people run away or ran away and jumped over chairs to get away. Throwing chairs. God, one person is saying, help me, God. That's what you want to say, Golden Corral. Help me, God. Employees are also help me, God. I want some steak. You going into the ambulance with some steak in your mouth, like yeah, eating steak in your head. Well, I got beaten up, but at least I got my steak. Employees are also shown trying to break up the brawlers and screaming at customers to get out. The steak's outside. just take the steak and throw it out the front door. They'll chase after it, man. Anyway, I'm gonna end the show. You know what? Don't be one of these people. You see something like this, you videotape it from a safe place or get the hell out of there, man. I worry about you guys. I love you. I worry about you. All over the world, we're entering into some difficult times. Things are going to get really crazy, I think, real soon. And you know, be there for your family. Be there for your friends. Love will rule the day. I'll see you guys next week on this here show. Bye.